Raise your hands if any of you use toothpaste today. Excellent, that's most of you. And I won't judge those who didn't raise your hands. Raise your hands if any of you had bread, biscuits, cereals, or instant noodles today. Again, that's most of you. In this simple demonstration, I just showed to you that all of us consume palm oil today. I also showed to you that just how ubiquitous palm oil is in our daily lives. In the past, palm oil was associated with serious environmental and social issues, mainly because there are companies within the industry who have been accused of forest destruction, of oppression of local communities, accused of killing the orangutans, and even driving climate change. And because all of us consume palm oil today, and probably every day, we unwittingly contribute to these negative impacts. Now, given that this industry has been attached with these labels, one might ask, why are we still using this stuff? Why haven't we just gotten rid of it? Well, getting rid of it is not the answer, and I'll tell you why. The world needs oils and fats. With the rising global population today and the rise of affluence in countries like China and India, the world will need more land to grow more crop to produce more oil. Of the 17 oils and fats that is traded today, the oil palm is the most efficient crop. Compared to soybean, for example, the oil palm needs 10 times less land to produce the same amount of oil. On top of that, thousands, tens of thousands of people would be in abject poverty today if it were not for oil palm or palm oil. 3 million heads of families are smallholders in this industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, like it or not, palm oil is the most popular edible oil today. Like it or not, it's here to stay. Provided, and that's a good thing, provided it can be produced sustainably. And that, in a nutshell, describes what I do. I work for an organization that seeks to transform the market so that the majority of palm oil is produced in a sustainable way, in a way that does not harm people, does not harm the planet, and does not harm profits. My organization is called the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, otherwise known as the RSPO. The RSPO was founded in 2004 by several visionary organizations who chose to change the path that the industry was taking. At the time, the industry was associated with serious environmental destruction. The industry was associated with deforestation in species-rich areas in Southeast Asia. The industry was associated with large openings and burnings in peatlands, which caused clouds of choking haze to cover all of Southeast Asia. The industry was associated with land grabbing on a massive scale that had severe repercussions to local communities. These visionary organizations that formed the RSPO chose not to duck the issue, and they chose to take a groundbreaking path. They chose a path of collaboration with very unlikely partners. For the first time, all actors along the supply chain sat together at the table to discuss these very issues. These included the growers who grew the crop to produce the oil, the buyers who manufactured that oil and sold finished goods to consumers, the financiers who financed both the buyers and the growers, and social environmental NGOs who represented constituents who could not make it to the discussion room. All this in an effort to transform an industry. The first thing they had to do was to develop a standard or guidelines that described what was this thing called sustainable palm oil. I was very lucky to be part of this process, and that event will stay in my mind forever. It was the first time producers sat down together to have substantive discussions with environmental and social NGOs, most of whom had absolutely opposite views from the palm oil sector. In the beginning, as I was in that room, I realized each and every one of them at the discussion table thought only they knew the issues surrounding sustainable the development of palm oil. And therefore, only they knew the solutions for the development of sustainable palm oil. But pretty soon, it was obvious. New issues came forward from every corner of the room. New solutions came from every corner of the room. And then I witnessed a miracle. There was growing mutual respect across interest groups. Individuals were listening intently and even nodding in agreement to the opposite party's views. It was a momentous occasion, but still, it wasn't easy. In the RSPO, we're quite crazy. We decided that any decision that's to be made must be made via consensus, which means everybody in that room had to agree to every letter, every dot, every exclamation mark, or every punctuation mark. Because of this, the process nearly crashed several times. I heard voices raised, tables thumped. But to the credit of everyone in that room, no one left the table. Why? Because each and every one of them, I believe, believed in the dream that this commodity could be produced in a sustainable way, could be produced in a way that does not sacrifice people, does not sacrifice the planet, and does not sacrifice profits. They chose to make the RSPO work. So, this discussion took a year, and in late 2005, the membership of the RSPO endorsed it. And this was the beginning of a market transformation for the industry. So where are we now, you may ask? Well, today, 12% of this global commodity is certified sustainable according to the RSPO standards. We have been making inroads into Europe, which is the first mover in the consumption of sustainable palm oil. Today, and when I say certified sustainable, what does that mean? It means that the production of palm oil does not come at the expense of primary forests, does not come at the expense of high conservation value areas, does not and comes from areas that has the free, prior, and informed consent of the local communities. However, we still have challenges. Before we have challenges, I'm going to tell you a bit of our successes, sorry. The RSPO has nearly 900 members today, coming from 52 countries, ranging from the big brand names to Fortune 500 companies to smallholders in developing countries. Great success, you may say. However, we still have challenges. We're still far from our lofty ambitions to transform all markets to make sustainable palm oil trading the norm. Today, we have made inroads into Europe, a region that's making the first move in the consumption of sustainable palm oil. Even here, we face challenges. We meet buyers who prefer to remain on the sidelines, watching others make the first move. And so far, only 50% of all certified sustainable palm oil has been absorbed in the markets today. We see India and China as key to transforming oil markets because they are the largest markets for palm oil in the world. And it remains a tough challenge for us. We are only just beginning to make inroads in these countries. So, what is your role, you may ask? How can we promote the consumption of sustainable palm oil and the production of it as well? Well, we are consumers. You can very well ask your retailers, is this toothpaste, is this bread, is this biscuit, is this cereal coming from sustainable sources? Is the palm oil in it certified sustainable? That's the question you can ask. And if they say no, then you need to ask why not. Tell them about sustainable palm oil. Very soon, you'll be able to see this logo on products on shelves in retailers. This logo seeks to communicate with the consumer the content of sustainable palm oil in that product. It's a powerful tool for the consumer to pull sustainable palm oil through the supply chain. And I hope you do pull that chain. At this point, I'd like to mention about industries who have decided to take a leadership role in this issue without even being prompted by their customers. They've decided that it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing for people, it's the right thing to do for the planet, and it's the right thing for long-term business success. And they said, hey, why wait? Why wait to be told? And they did. They have taken action today. So I ask you, do you work in a company or own a company that produces finished goods with palm oil? Why not take the same leadership stance? Why wait for your customers to tell you to do this? Why not be proactive and communicate to your customers that you are transforming your business towards a sustainable course? I'm very lucky to be in this job because I learned a lot of things. And one of the great things I've learned is just how influential the financial sector is in influencing the sustainable development agenda. The financial sector, the bankers and investors, have influenced producers and buyers towards sustainable palm oil. They ask simple yet powerful questions. They asked the buyer, they said, well, how much do you consume palm oil a year? And then they follow up with another question. When can you convert to all of that to sustainable palm oil? Very simple, very powerful, not to be underestimated. And it's very relevant in Singapore because this is a financial hub. My question to you, to those who work in the financial sector, why not ask the simple, powerful questions to the businesses that you invest in or give loans to? This can help transform markets. At this point, I'd like to mention two life events that I think is pertinent to today. In 1998, I read a book by Stephen Covey. It was a low point in my life, and I decided to seek inspiration whilst on holiday in the forest of Borneo. And the salient points of this book I took with me, and it stayed with me ever since. I learned that there are always choices to be made, even in the most extreme circumstances. And the choices can be made easier if you have a personal vision of the future. Then, all choices that you make is merely an alignment of your life towards that vision. Do you have a vision of the future? Does that vision include a world that does not have poverty? Does that vision include a world that does not have species extinction? Does that vision include a world where your children don't have to worry about access to water? Or is it a world that your children don't have to worry about rising sea levels that would flood their cities? If your vision includes any one of these visions, then the choice you have to make is clear. You need to take action with using the examples that I just mentioned. It's really that simple. I said I'll mention the two life events. Well, here's the other. On the 9th of November 2011, the International Energy Agency released a report. And they said that the world was heading towards irreversible climate change in 5 years. They further said that if the world had no plan in effect, by 2017, the door will be closed forever. This shocked me. shocked me to the core. I know about climate change. This is part of my work. But I never realized that the time was so limited. I thought it's somebody else's problem. It's my problem. It's going to happen in 5 years. And it shocked me even further because I realized that my son will have to hear about damning news about his world and his generation before he even reaches the age of 7. He's there at the back. He's the one making noise. And that I would be the bearer of that news. I realized then, on the 9th of November 2011, knowing what choice to make, knowing what actions to take, was not enough. Drastic action needed to be taken today. So, ladies and gentlemen, the RSPO will not solve climate change, poverty, hunger, will not solve species extinction on our own. Yes, we will be a major part of the solution. Yes, we have shown the world that we can put aside all our differences, fundamental differences, and work towards a unified goal. But we desperately need your drastic action today. I chose to be on TEDxWWF today because I know you are influential people, whether you realize it or not. I know that you can make this initiative of this industry work. And more importantly, and this I hope you bring back home, more importantly, you can make this initiative an example for other industries to follow, because that's what we need. I know we have the capacity to make a change, all of us. Because after all, you and I, we have a lot at stake. Thank you very much.